5 and Star Times Channel 276. Now the news in full. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has called on Nigerians to remain steadfast in hope and resilient in faith, assuring that with God's guidance, the country will overcome its challenges and rise to fulfill its destiny. The President made the call at the Sunday service to mark Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary. Over now to Samuel Odi's report.
The Sunday service to mark Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary at the National Christian Center was marked with prayers, thanksgiving, and words of exaltation, which set the tone for nation's reflection and unity under God. The president, who was represented by President of Senate Godswill Akpabio, urged Nigerians to embrace unity, tolerance, and collective responsibility in building a greater Nigeria.
Let us write not a story of weakness, but a story of strength. Not a story of quarrels, but that of courage. Not a story of division, but that of unity. We shall give our children not ashes, but great fire to continue to light the way for others to follow.
The national president of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, Bishop Francis Wale Oke, emphasized the role of righteousness, justice, and fervent prayers in shaping the nation's future. He encouraged Nigerians to look beyond the trials of today and trust God for a new dawn of unity, peace, prosperity, and progress.
Beginning from the head, those who lead, those who dictate the pace, those who craft the policies, those who make the laws, those who govern the people. Let the oil of unity flow from the head. Let's settle all agreements, or disagreement, or strife. Let's put vainglory aside and walk in humility.
The service, which drew dignitaries, top government officials, church leaders, and citizens, including Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, who reminded Nigerians to thank the past heroes who fought to see that Nigeria gained independence.
Our spirit has never been broken. The Nigerian spirit has always been in the air. It is already at work. We salute our spirit of resilience, spirit of hope and
As Nigerians celebrate 65 years of independence, the call for unity, peace, and faith has once again echoed across the nation. Samuel Odi for Global Television News.
As Nigeria marks 65 years of independence, conversations are shifting beyond politics and economy to culture and identity. On the Global Morning program, experts reflected on how much Nigerians have deviated from traditional values and norms. Onautu Obong Usoresi completes the report.
Speaking on the program, Adejoke Raji, a cultural advocate, stressed that while modernization and globalization have brought progress, they've also eroded aspects of the Nigeria's cultural fabric. She highlighted the need to revive values such as respect for elders, communal living, and indigenous languages.
If you are talking about identity, that's where cultural essence comes in. Who am I? What do I stand for? Where am I coming from? Who were my progenitor? How were they doing it? That was making life easy for them before the coming of the colonial master.
Rajiv further called for deliberate cultural education in schools and stronger use of media platforms to promote Nigeria's heritage. According to her, young people can embrace modernity without discarding the traditions that shape national identity.
My people, Nigeria, we want to look at it from the south, the west, the north, the east. They were people of pride. They took joy in their personality, in their individuality, in their communal living. And when we're talking about the communal living, that's actually what made us. That's what actually united us in anywhere we find ourselves.
The Global Morning Show discussion was part of Nigeria's 65th independence reflections, challenging citizens to look inward, celebrate progress, and confront the cultural gaps that could weaken national unity. Ubong Usoro for Global Television.
Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has described Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary as a milestone. noting that 65 years of nationhood is no small feat. Uzodimma made this known at the Independence Church service at the Government House Chapel, Owerri. Our correspondent, Amarachi Ibe, tells us more.
Governor Hope Uzodimma noted that despite challenges, the country has continued to stand united, adding that the anniversary is a time to reflect on Nigerians' journey, renewed hope, and strengthened commitment to national progress. He urged Nigerians to remain resilient, patriotic, and committed to building a greater nation, assuring that with collective effort, Nigerians' future remains bright.
65 years in the life of a man is not a joke. In Imo State, the government of Imo State is decided that where we are, a lot of things must change, particularly our way of doing things.
Uzodimma used the medium to inform Imola that President Bola Tinubu will be visiting the state on Tuesday, the 30th of this month, to commission key projects executed by his administration.
So I want to congratulate us and use this opportunity to inform you that the President of the country will be visiting Imo State on Tuesday. And while in Imo, he will be commissioning Owerri MBC to Umuahia Road. He will also be commissioning the twin flyover at Asonta Roundabout. And he will also be commissioning Chief Emmanuel Iwayamu International Conference Center.
In his homily, Monsignor John Iwe congratulated Nigerians on the country's independence anniversary and stressed that for the nation to make real progress, the plight of the poor must never be ignored.
So far, 65 years, we are now elders, we are now senior citizens as of age. The rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. What do we do to bridge this situation, especially the critical situation of our country today? We can't neglect the poor, the needy, the outcast. We must have something to do with them, for them.
As Nigeria marks 65 years of independence, the message from both the governor and the clergy is clear. Unity, progress, and care for the poor remains the guiding path for the nation's future. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
The Minister of the Federal Ministry of Arts, Culture and Tourism, Anatu Musa Musawa, has awarded scholarships to 42 students of the Yakubu Gowon University, Abuja, to mark the 45th World Tourism Day. The minister disclosed this while commemorating the United Nations 45th World Tourism Day at the China Cultural Center in Abuja. Topsy Gimba has details.
Delivering the keynote address on behalf of the Minister, the Permanent Secretary Dr. Mukhtar Yawala Mohammed unveiled Nigeria's sustainable tourism transformation agenda, a bold four-pillar framework designed to translate Nigeria's cultural wealth and natural endowments into global opportunities. The Chairman Senate Committee on Tourism, Senator Pam Watkon Dachungyang, commended the ministry's vision and stressed the importance of community-based tourism, where revenues remain with host communities, empowering local people and preserving heritage. Topsy Gimba, reporting for Global Television News.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has tasked the Nigerian military with protecting the nation's economic interests from disruptive activities of terrorists. Represented by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, at the combined passing out parade of cadets at the Nigerian Defense Academy, NDA Kaduna. The president stressed that the armed forces must confront insurgency to prevent economic collapse while revitalizing capacity and securing national security. He congratulated 472 newly commissioned cadets, commended the NDA's technological innovations and training, and urged the graduates to demonstrate courage and uphold military virtues. It was a solemn moment at the Nigerian Police Force as they paid their final respect to the former Inspector General of late Solomon RSA. The remains of the former Inspector General of Police, Solomon RSA, have been flown to Benin City, Edo State, ahead of his funeral in his ancestral home. Over now to Kike Lomo Okeri report. We apologize that reports will be brought in a subsequent bulletin. Over now to drug abuse. It has become a growing concern in Nigeria, with Abuja not left out as many youths fall victim to the dangerous trend. Despite efforts by government and health agencies to curb the menace, cases of addiction and its devastating impact on families, education, and society continues to rise. Over now to Kabir Hassan. He was there on the streets of Abuja to hear what youths have to say. Apologize that reports will be brought in our subsequent bulletin. You are watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. When News Cycle returns, Pegasus declares nationwide strike shortly, coming details plus foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is News Cycle on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business now, former lawmaker and constitutional lawyer Senator Ita Enang has commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for initiating bold tax reforms aimed at boosting Nigerians' revenue base. Senator Enang, who represented Akwa Ibom Northeast in the Senate and also served as a special advisor to late President Muhammadu Buhari on National Assembly matters, made this known on Global Television's current affairs program, Big Talk in Abuja. Our correspondent, Topsy Gimba, tells us more.
Speaking on the program, Senator Ita Enang described the tax reform drive as a foresighted initiative that's already yielding positive results for the nation's economy. He says the reform is a bold step and it is working to improve government revenue and fiscal stability.
Thanks to the ingenuity of the tax laws of the Tinubu administration. And there is a lot of competing, the non-oil revenue competes very seriously with the oil revenue and has exceeded the oil revenue.
The former presidential aide also expressed delight at appearing on the Global Television and across Nigerians to continue following the station's programs for credible information. Topsy Gimba, Global Television News.
It was a solemn moment as the Nigerian Police Force paid their final respect to the former Inspector General of late Solomon RSA. The remains of the former Inspector General of Police have been flown to Benin City, Edo State, ahead of his burial in his ancestral home. Over now to Kike Lomo Okeri's report.
Draped in the national colors and escorted with full police honors, the remains of the late Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arase, made their final journey out of Abuja. Tears, salutes, and silence followed the coffin as it was lifted aboard the aircraft. that would return him to Benin City, the place he first called home, and now where he will be laid to rest. For men and women of the Nigerian police force, it was not just a farewell, but the end of era. Arase, who once led the force with a firm yet fatherly hand, is remembered for his reforms and his steady voice during turbulent times. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, described late IGP Arase as one of the finest police officers who ever served in the Nigerian police force. His distinguished career was defined by integrity, professionalism, and dedication to service.
His tenure was marked by profound policy and national reforms in the Nigerian police force that emphasized professionalism, discipline, and commitment to the respect for the rule of law. He believed that effective policing requires not just the strength of arms, but also the strength of character and compassion.
Other people who paid glowing tribute to the late IGP include former Commissioner of Police, FCT Police Command, CP Lawrence Alobi. He described the late Arase as a man with outstanding character.
A man who is accountable every 3 years. And also the purpose of the country Nigerian police force and that he did. His policies today leave a legacy. And I want to praise the General Police Service for giving the honor to his late colleague.
This parade is not just a ceremony. It is the last salute to a man who devoted his entire life to public service. Dr. Arase's legacy is a reminder that every career and every tenure will one day come to an end, but true service will endure across generations. Solomon Arase's journey on earth may have ended, but his legacy within the rank of the Nigerian police force lives. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
Stakeholders in the Nigerian oil and gas sector have called on the federal government to expand surveillance on the pipeline, which has significantly reduced crude oil losses and boosted data. Ramsey Enoch Agbo report.
According to the Nigerian Offspring Regulatory Commission, the reduction in crude oil losses has not only increased daily output but also spurred growth in the nation's gas reserves. At the monthly Pipeline Infrastructure Nigeria Limited Stakeholders Engagement Meeting in Port Harcourt, the company's operational record was hailed as a major contributor to rising government revenue from oil and gas. Stakeholders drawn from Abia, Bayelsa, Imo, and Rivers State emphasized that PNIL's role should be strengthened with more funding and an expanded mandate to cover gas infrastructure.
We have expanded our scope to cover the gas lines in the Eastern Corridor. That is the reason there is increased production of gas, and we are doing a lot to ensure that we maintain this in the interest of this country.
Engaging stakeholders to own the surveillance of the pipeline, also protecting the environment from the hazards that comes out from oil theft.
With stakeholders affirming confidence in PNI's capacity to protect vital infrastructure, the call now is for government intervention to expand its surveillance model to gas pipelines, ensuring the same level of accountability and security across the energy sector. Ramsey Enoch Agbo reporting for Global Television News.
Gurasa is locally made bread in Arabian countries. Now in northern Nigeria, Kano State is known to be the home of gurasa, which are displayed on the streets and also suya spots. In Dala communities, locals confirm that many households are benefiting from the business, which now appears as hereditary. Global TV correspondent Idris Jibrin visited Dala local government where the amazing Arabian bread is a staple food. The report.
For almost 40 years, Hajia Fatima Musa in Dala community is known to be in the business of gurasa bread. She inherited the trade from her mother and is now passing it to 3 of her female children.
Unfortunately, for now we are suffering because of the high cost of flour and other ingredients used in processing the gurasa. The flour we use this day is not good, and in most cases, we lost our entire money.
Gurasa, a locally made Arabian bread baked by housewives within this community and other areas in Kano State, is made from flour and baked in locally made pots known among the houses as tanderu. Initially, gurasa is only known to be a meal for the royals and elites. Over time, gurasa became food for all, and this is not unconnected with the stages followed in processing it. Depending on the sizes, quantity and taste, it's sold between 50 and 100 naira. Residents of Kano and other cities in northern Nigeria eat gurasa using roasted meat called suya or pepper soup and pounded groundnut cake mixed with vegetable oil, locally known as kuli kuli. Although gurasa is still being baked by many housewives and hawked on the streets, transported to neighboring states, production, however, have some challenges.
Honestly, before now we enjoyed boa flour, but as of now, boa has become something else. The flour is not good anymore, and we are reciting huge loss. Not for long, I lost 150,000 naira.
This area is called Chediyar Gurasa, a name carved out of the fact that every house in this area is a small gurasa bakery. There are many residents benefiting from this trade, but the lack of support by the government to strengthen the industry is gradually reducing their production capacity. Hence the need for government to save this old long business by providing soft loan to the bakers. From Kano, Idris Jibrin reporting for Global Television News.
In sports news now, Nigerians Falconets have booked their spots in the third round of the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifiers with a 4-0 win over Rwanda in Ibadan, sealing a 5-0 aggregate triumph. The victory was described by pundits as a dominant performance that underlined Nigerians' pedigree at youth level. Now, the Falconets will face either Senegal or Algeria in the next round as they continue their pursuit of another World Cup appearance. That's it on News Cycle. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @GlobalTVNG. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching.